Hi, beautiful starseeds. I'm Sheila Maria and I'm a psychic medium for starseeds. One of the questions that I get asked an awful lot is, where am I from? So starseeds often know that they are not from here and that here is not home. And this can be accompanied by a very strong longing of wanting to go home. But the universe is a very big place, and the likelihood is that you've had hundreds and thousands of lives, only a minute handful of which are likely to have been on Earth. And so there really is a great big wide universe out there that you have spent the rest of infinity in. So what we want to do is to give you some tips as to how you can find out where some of those previous incarnations have been. So number one, calling your guides and using a pendulum, create a small chart and simply ask them, where have I had the most productive lives? Earth, etheric, or galactic? So what you're doing by asking where you have had the most productive lives is you are narrowing down to the lives that have made you who you are today, and that will be the most powerful group of lives that you want to investigate. So Earth, etheric, or galactic. So when we're talking about etheric lives, we're talking about you being wherever you were. You might have been part of a collective consciousness. You might have been a star being that vibrated at such a density or such a frequency that you were in light body form. So for example, if we were to talk about the Pleiadians, there are Pleiadians that visit Earth and can be seen by the naked eye. And then there are Pleiadians that exist outside of that vibrational frequency, and their energy fields are so bright, they've gone beyond the need or the use of a physical body. So they can visit Earth, but you wouldn't be able to see them. And if you could, all you would see is a very, very bright light. So, for example, in Lyria, there were Lyrians that were etheric, not necessarily in the spirit world, and there were Lyrians that were physical. There were humanoid Lyrians, and there were Lyrians that looked like cats. So it's all about just narrowing down where your most productive lives were. We're also going to suggest that you go back in time and you tune into the last non-human life you had. And remember that you are your higher self. And although you do come here with a certain level of forgetfulness, if you are able to trust what you know, you can tap into your eternal memory banks and you can see how you looked, even if you can't pinpoint exactly where you were at that particular time. So my suggestion is that you do a meditation, get yourself in a very, very comfortable, quiet state, and you set the intention within sacred space to see how you looked when you were last not in human form. And you might get an impression that your legs are very, very long. You might get the impression that you've got more than 2 legs. You might get the impression of having avian features. You may get the impression of being a sea being within whichever reality that was in. It can be very interesting. And the other thing that you can do is you can also tune in to the resonance that you are now that you were then. So by this, we're going to give you some generalities, and these are very, very general. It's like classing all humans in one way. It's a stereotype, but if these energies are part of you, it's likely that you've lived lives in some of these star systems. So if you are very analytical, then we would suggest that you have had lives in either Maldek, Mars, or Sirius. If you are very, very focused on healing, we would suggest that you have had lives in Pleiades. If you are very protective, we would suggest that you've had lives in Lyria, Vega, or Speaker. If you are very multidimensional, we would suggest that you've had lives in Nihal, or Orion, or Arcadia. If you are very, very multidimensional in your awareness and you are very focused on spiritual technology, we would suggest that you've had lives in Mu, Lemuria, or Atlantis. And the final thing that you can do just by yourself to find out where you have been is dive into your Akashic records and ask, what was the predominant reason for your choice to come to Earth? What is it that you as a soul were going to get here that you were not going to get anywhere else? So I know for me, the reason I came here was to experience physicality in an attempt to slow me down, because I'm very rarely physical. I'm a very, very fluid being. And that's what was in it for me. So by asking in the Akashic records, not what is it you're here to do for others, but what was the reason that you as a soul got the body you've got? What was that reason? Very often it's going to be the opposite of the type of life you had before. So I know in my last lifetime I was a fairy, and you know, it's very different to the life I've got now. And that is one of the reasons I am here. So the other thing that you can do is you can work with someone like myself who can dive into your cosmic origins and can actually help you to make sense of why you are the way you are and why your life is the way it is. And we're going to be doing more videos about starseed origins and different life purposes as time goes by. But for now, thank you so much for joining us. Lots of love from me and Bon, Peter, Orion and Rose. We love you very, very much. Do check out our website, SheilaMaria.com. Lots of love. Goodbye for now.